Hi,
All right, there we go. What's
how's it
up?
going?
It's good. Trying to get my mind around the technicality here. I think we're all set. Hi, thanks for joining us,
Hi,
joining me.
thanks for having me. Just setting up my camera.
So I'm hoping I'm on like a tripod, and I'm like wondering if it's gonna stay still. um, awesome. So X.Ari, is that how you say your name? Is that how you like for me to refer to you? Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, my battery just said like I'm low, so it gave me a warning.
Oh, okay,
I
okay,
have the
all good.
charger
So you can
nearby,
hear
so not
me.
to worry. Yes, I can hear you.
And you can see me. Okay, we're in business. And did you hear what I asked? I think I just wanted to know how to refer to you in terms of your name.
X.Ari or Ari's good.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm Richard with Happy Music.
So
Thanks for
great to
coming.
meet
Happy
you.
Wednesday evening or night. Are you on the West Coast?
I am actually on the East Coast and visiting family and friends in Toronto.
Okay, hi, family and friends. I'm in Boston currently, so I'm in the 9 o'clock Eastern time zone myself.
Nice, it's late.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's not bad. I can kind of I definitely haven't been working the past hour, but maybe uh, the rest of the day. Um, but it's so wonderful to meet you. My name is Richard again, part of the Happy Music team, and stoked to have this opportunity to speak with you tonight on this platform. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And for one of our Happy Music Lives, which we just started doing recently, and it's been amazing. So I'm sure that's how it'll be tonight. That's what I'm. That's what I'm hoping for.
Let's do
Um,
it.
so let's get started, and I think we're going to start similarly to how we have in the past, and just kind of ask you, kind of, in the context of the past year and a half, this period of time for everybody being a challenging one and something that's been tough. If that's something that maybe you could just speak on in terms of how you're doing today and at this point.
I am doing great overall. Definitely always managing mental health challenges as someone who has multiple mental illnesses. And COVID for me wasn't a more difficult time, to be honest, because I've gone through such difficult times with mental health before COVID that I just actually felt more equipped to go through COVID and with all the coping skills I have. But my heart does go out to people whose earth shattered when COVID happened because that fortunately has brought a lot of light to mental health awareness, but obviously it's also an epidemic and more people are dealing with challenges more than ever. So my heart goes out to those people and giving a lot of compassion, but I'm also really glad that there's finally like hopefully an end to the stigma because more people feel like they can connect and relate to mental health struggle now. So that's the one positive thing is more awareness. But yeah, I'd say like I go through anxiety daily, nightly, ADHD. I had to get off ADHD pills in February, so that's been an adjustment. And
Whoa.
I deal with OCD and bipolar 1, which has led to episodes of psychosis, depression, mania, PTSD, and hospitalization. So I've been through the gamut with mental health, but really what I do is turn pain into power. That's my life motto. Means making my weaknesses my biggest strengths, thereby transmuting my burdens and my blessings. And I'm not an anomaly, and anybody could do that. So I do it through creativity and self care, and also sharing my story is really empowering and healing for me, and hopefully helps others feel less alone.
Hell yeah, no doubt. I think I'm sure everybody that was listening, I know myself, there's a whole lot of points that you made there that ring true. And I think that specifically that this has been different for some who have had challenges prior to this time. So that's a really awesome perspective, and also the perspective to be able to just look forward. I think with a certain optimism and positive, at least mindset. Sounds like it helps a lot.
Mindset is so important. It's actually one of the few things we have control over, and sometimes it feels even difficult to control my own mindset. But it's something it's empowering, to think really it's up to me how I choose to look at the world, and it's up to me how I choose to take care of myself. And that could be so empowering. To others it could be, wow, it's all on me. It's up to me if I want to achieve anything. It's up to me if I want to get well, and that's so daunting, right? So it's really, it all ties back to mindset and perspective and choosing the light or the dark, and where you're going to live. And sometimes we teeter totter between the two, but always trying to lean in towards the light as much as possible.
Hell yeah. And this is happy music. And so I kind of want to remind people that I think I have to remind myself what we're the
Happy
platform and the
music.
focus. So like as you are a musician and you release
Yes.
music, I got a chance to check out your the clip that we posted of part of your new song. And so I guess I'll just kind of, as a musician, we're trying here to explore the person, but behind the music, beneath it. And we know that music doesn't just come from nothing, and that it flows from the personality of the musician. So, what would you say? How would you describe your personality in terms of, and maybe how that affects the music that you create?
Interesting question. I guess like I'd say my personality could be really introspective but outgoing at the same time. I'm definitely an ambivert. Like I love my alone time, but I also love being around people. So that's like a mixture of introverted and extroverted.
Oh yeah.
Um, I definitely love to have fun and joke around and be silly when the moment's right. Being silly is like the best. It's the most healing thing. And outgoing, and I work on being patient and compassionate. And it's so interesting because like when I reflect on myself, it's like you think by now I'd know all the adjectives that go with me, but I feel like I'm constantly evolving and changing. But really, when it boils down to it, I just try to choose kindness towards myself and other people, and give people the benefit of the doubt, and just try to be understanding. I'm really communicative and know how to express my emotions into words really easily. Hence why I songwrite, so I'm able to go through an emotion, think of an idea, translate it onto paper or computer or piano or whatever very easily. And like I've gotten to that point of success with translation, with creativity, in that sense that like I have a vision of a music video and I create it and it turns out exactly the way I want it. Like whereas years ago I'd have an idea, I'd be like, it's kind of something, I guess it's cool. And where I'd write a song and be like, oh, I thought it was better, but it's not so good yet. Now I'm at the point where like I have a vision, I see it through, it comes out exactly the way I want it. And to me, that's kind of a level of creative success I've always been after that I'm proud to say I have. And then there's all different definitions of success, but that's one that I really appreciate. And how my personality comes out of my music, I'd say like I'm very raw and honest, and I allow that to come out in my music and artistry. I'm really fearless when it comes to sharing personal details. And I used to be more of a coward, I'd call it, when it comes to being vulnerable. And I've gotten a lot of strength, and now from coward to courage, and to being really brave. And so I share like my most intimate details in my music, whether it's mental health challenges or love. More recently, my EP Anya came out dedicated to my girlfriend, is a total look into my sexuality. I didn't even know I was queer, and I met an amazing woman, and then now we're in love, and I have an EP dedicated to her, and the whole EP is about the transformation
Wow.
into fluidity and newfound love and uncharted territory, right?
Yeah,
So
I saw that, and I thought this is something I really maybe haven't seen put into in those words before in terms of the body of work. Um, and it seems so authentic. That sounds perfect in terms of
thank
just feeling
you.
it and then making it into art. It's cool.
And music is really everybody's soundtrack, whether it's a song we hear on the radio that marks a moment in time, or we can have nostalgia years later. Oh, that song was just like the bookmark of this chapter. And for me, my writing music is kind of like the soundtrack of my own life. It's like the zeitgeist of my moment. And I just try to be authentically honest in every moment that I'm writing about. And that being said, as much as I write about mental health and challenges, I write about hope and love and positivity as well, and empowerment. And I don't tell myself just because I advocate for mental health for all these years that all my songs have to do with mental health, because not every moment of my life is consumed by mental health, thankfully.
You said something before that was like, you were kind of mentioning how you were struggling with kind of or maybe not struggling, but the adjectives were not coming super fluidly about yourself. And it made me think about, how that I think can be a challenge, especially as you're kind of going through life to be able to pull those words out that identify us and openly speak to them to others. Cause it's like, I think sometimes we get caught up on the ones that we don't want anybody to see, you know, if that
Great
makes
point.
sense.
And I think one of the reasons why I was like, it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint who I am, because I've actually really, I know who I am right now in this moment, but sometimes when I'm asked, I have to reflect on my current reality, because reality shifts daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and who I am last year and the adjectives I would have used last year could be greatly different. And I think that's the beauty of life, of an evolution, is really we're always changing and evolving, and the less attached I am to my identity, the more likely I am to grow into something more like special than I could have imagined. So I try not to be confined by my own limited beliefs, and really just like see myself as fluid, not only in sexuality now, but in my own identity.
Sound motivated, that's for sure. Um, what are some experiences like if you don't mind sharing some life experiences that were, you know, I guess struggles would be just things, maybe shifts that defined who you are and got you to this point of what you were just saying, maybe.
Definitely, I'd say I went through a lot of challenging moments in childhood, specifically in adolescence with family, and going through therapy to really resolve those matters internally, and get change the repression into expression to avoid more depression. I should write that down. From
What are the
repression to
three?
expression, no, and depression, because repression causes depression. But through expression, you can avoid all those things, right? So I was like pent up with a ton of mental health challenges kind of pouring out of me because I wasn't dealing with the root cause of my traumas. And also what happened to me, I had psychosis when I was 23, and then in 2016, and then in 2018. And it kind of like took me 3 times of going through severe mental health crisis to really radically accept that I have a diagnosis and that I need to medicate it. Every time, that the first 2 times I was like, that's an anom like that's like, so this is just like a fluke, like I'm not bipolar, like I don't have bipolar. This is just an accumulation of unfortunate events that led to this reaction. And so I'm really proud of myself for finally admitting and recognizing that I really do need to be on medication, and like accepting that radically. And forgiveness has been a huge part in my healing journey, like forgiving family, forgiving myself, and for not caring for myself in the way that probably would, like, I think if I took care of myself better, maybe I wouldn't have ended up in the hospital. I also don't want to blame myself, but I know I experimented with drugs and I didn't prioritize mental health, and all those things can lead to deterioration and also um, bring out dormant illness that may have, if I kept the door closed without doing that drug, for example, maybe I wouldn't have unleashed bipolar. Who knows? But I like to say, instead of regretting and being sad about what I did or what led to what, to just kind of be grateful for what I do have, and also recognize that every moment builds up to the next, and that like this is my destiny. And if it wasn't for all the choices I made along the way, I wouldn't be living pain into power and living in my purpose and inspiring other people by being open. And I wouldn't be working on a wellness festival, which I'm so excited about, which all has to do with
Ooh.
mental health. I wouldn't be like writing the music that I'm so excited about. So really everything from, early stages and the middle of my life and where I am now has made me who I am, and I really love who I am. And it took a lot of work to love myself, but affirmations in the mirror and a lot of self-work and telling myself I love myself has got me there. But if I have to circle back to what your main question was, which is like what was the most challenging moment, I'd say being hospitalized for me was one of the most challenging times of my life. I was in psychosis, and for those who do not know what psychosis is, it is a symptom of bipolar, mostly bipolar 1, and schizophrenia. So I don't have schizophrenia, but it's a shared symptom, and it can also happen from be a drug induced psychosis. So it means a loss of reality, and it can have delusions, paranoia, hallucinations. It's really like when people have lost their minds, quote unquote. Psychosis is usually what they're going through. And when you see somebody on the streets mumbling to themselves, looking like they're in an alternative reality, they're probably in psychosis and probably have one of those mental health conditions. So if it wasn't for medication and my family, I think I would have ended up on the streets, to be honest, because I wasn't able to care for myself. I was totally dysfunctional and lost in different realities and parallel universes. I felt like I was traveling space and time. I believed stories that didn't exist. I was making up the wildest narratives that I would never think of. Like, for example, I thought my mood controlled the air conditioner. I thought my brain interacted with beeps in the phone. I thought that if I collected certain things, like that they were connected to some other reality. I thought that the newspaper articles were all directed at me. I thought the TV was interacting with me. I thought that if I was nicer to my Uber driver, he would somehow drive me to where Drake is and that Drake would sign me.
Sign me up.
but what it sounds funny, some of the things I say, but when I was in those moments, like I literally could not function in this reality, because when I'm believing things that don't exist, I'm following that as my truth. And when you're following false reality as a truth, you're not present and able to conduct yourself in a functional manner, right? So really grateful that I'm
Yes,
in this
right.
reality and that I'm with it and I know where I am and I'm not confused. I don't think people are out to get me or that the police are about to arrest me for, I don't even know. I thought I was a criminal. Like I thought all these things like that I never could have like made up if I was creating a story. So it's interesting how creative the mind can be. And I really appreciate that about myself. And I see that as a gift that I'm so creative that my brain could think of all these things. But really that was the most challenging time, and grounding through medication really helped. And I'm just so grateful for that, because the hospital was one of the scariest times of my life. And it was a really scary hospital and a lot of poor mistreatment. And it really made me worse. And I had to fight to get out of there. So I'm really glad I made it out. And that I only had to go to the hospital one more time a couple years later for just 2 days instead of 2 weeks.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. And I felt like really inspired by your words in multiple points of time, as I've gone through very similar things, and I've learned the hard way and seen a lot of my close friends and family learn the hard way about things like psychosis, and they really are misunderstood, I think, and oftentimes maybe misdiagnosed or something. And I guess it makes me think of like psychosis is like, it can't, I've known people that have had it occurring to them for 3 days or a month or their whole life. Like it's not this like catch all, like you as an individual making or not making certain choices, and then maybe just losing track of certain things can lead to potentially experiencing psychosis. Am I right there? What do you, or is it like, maybe I'm confused by it, and maybe you can help me understand, but, or is it the kind of thing
Yeah,
that like you have to have this like genetic predisposition to experience it or
well,
something?
I think anything can happen. There's with it's a spectrum when it comes to mental health, but typically psychosis is a symptom, it's not a mental illness. It's a symptom of a mental illness, and it's a symptom of bipolar or schizophrenia. However, you can also have an induced psychosis from drugs. That one, for example, might last a day. Some people could get stuck in it. For me, when I have bipolar 1, which led to like the last time I had psychosis maybe last a month, so my episodes tend to be about a month when I have them, and other people can have them for a few days, but I wasn't fortunate for the short length. I went on a full opposite of a vacation, you can call it.
Thanks for, I don't know if that, hopefully that wasn't tough, but thank you for sharing that as well, and
No,
diving a little further into it.
it's really easy for me because I've talked about it so many times now, and it's like it's amazing because in 2017 when I first started opening up about my experiences with mental health, which I had experienced since childhood but just didn't feel brave or comfortable enough to talk about it,
Right.
I was first really timid and kind of skirting around things and being a little vague, and like now because it's been 4 years, 4+ years of talking about it, I'm just like, my goal is to make talking about mental health as easy as ordering a coffee, like one, two, three, boom.
Oh,
The
wow.
easier it is
Yeah.
for me, the easier it is for
Same.
me, the easier it is for other people. And then hopefully hearing me talk about it makes someone feel safe that they can talk about it and that they're not alone and that it's okay. What I needed desperately when I was in recovery was I needed to see someone, anybody, say, hey, I went through psychosis. I'm still alive. I have a great life. I have love, or I have a job. I have my goals, and I'm on the right track again, and I've made it through stronger than before. If I only saw somebody like that, like what a shift in my life. I would have come to terms with it so much quicker, and I want that for other people. So that's one of the main reasons I'm motivated to speak, so frankly.
All right. Thank you for sharing. And we all experience positive and negative emotional states, and we often hide the emotional states that we're struggling with the most. And that's the kind of thing that maybe we don't put out there in our art or to our friends. Which ones that are, maybe you're still kind of experiencing, do you find to be kind of the hardest ones and more tough to actually be vocal and vulnerable about?
When it comes to mental health, like which mental illnesses are harder to talk about?
It doesn't necessarily, we don't necessarily have to, it doesn't, I guess maybe just in like general emotions, not necessarily
Emotions.
specifically those.
I guess like talking about fears, sometimes is really hard. Like I have certain obsessive tendencies of like fears that make me feel like scared to talk about sometimes because they sound so radical and they sound so like creepy almost that I feel like I could weird other people out if I open up too much about like some of my fears. But
Mm,
none of them I would ever act out. But a thing with like OCD, and I've been researching more and more about it lately, is like a lot of people have fears that they could accidentally hurt other people or accidentally hurt themselves. And like, I thought
yeah.
that was so unusual. And then I talked to my psychiatrist, who's like, absolutely, like, that's so normal. When it becomes as abnormal is when it's an obsession and doesn't stop, like when it can't get out of your head. So sometimes I have like those kind of dark thoughts, and I'm like, why? This isn't anything I want to do to myself or anybody else, but like, why do I have this thought? Like, can't I just ignore it? But because of OCD, it's like, no, it's there. So I just like work on reminding myself that I'm safe and like really I'm like the most gentle and loving and sweet and full of light person. It must be a past life of mine that's like was a creepster or something that wants to haunt me in this life because I genuinely love everybody and don't want to hurt anybody or hurt myself. But there's that fear of like, what if someone got out of control or I got out of control or so I think those like even right now talking about it like gives me anxiety because it sounds so like strange, right? But it actually a ton of people think about like what if I turn my car wheel in to hit somebody, like I lose control of my arms or something. But like saying it out loud sounds so wild, but like actually a lot of people have thought about doing that. And the same thing with like I remember I went to the Grand Canyon and I thought like I could just jump off the Grand Canyon right now. I don't want to, but what if my legs just like run and
I think I
go?
had that thought when I was there.
Yeah, so thoughts like that, where it's like it could happen, but the point is like that my therapist has helped me work on is like body and mind and soul is integrated, and like a fear in my mind does not mean that it will tell my body to do anything out of accordance to what I want, right? So I never have to worry about doing something like that because I don't actually want to. A thought doesn't mean you want it. And remembering that a thought is just a thought and it doesn't have to be so ingrained in who our identity. It's just a thought. It's just like a cloud floating by. It doesn't mean it's who I am or a reflection of anything that's an action of mine. And sometimes I think thoughts don't always belong to us. Like maybe I'm picking up a thought from like someone else. And like as an empath, like picking up on other people's energies,
It's
and it comes in, and I
interesting.
go, that doesn't belong to me. That's not mine. So it's kind of maybe that's a little far off for
Sometimes
some
it feels
people, but
I'm just like tapped into people's mental like kind of like flow just by having notifications on my phone from any social media outlet that I'm on. Like, okay, now I know what so and so is thinking immediately. And so yeah, I get that. But yeah, thanks for sharing there as well. And maybe you can speak a little on people in your life that you turn to, um, and others, and because I think that that's there's so much strength as you kind of touched on, and
It's
community or
so
family, whatever it
important.
is.
Yeah, it's so just like what you're saying is like the importance of a support system. It's so huge. Really, I feel like I could talk to, I'm so blessed that I have so many people to talk to. And it's also good to differentiate who to go to for different things, right? Some people might be really good at listening. Some people might be really good at giving advice. Some people might be really good at making
Mm.
you laugh. Really, so knowing like what I need in that moment and who to call is really important, right? And also keeping in mind just having one person to call that you can count on is actually a gift, right? So I really hope that for everybody tuning in that you feel like you have at least one person in your life you can call. My girlfriend's a great listener and supporter, Anya. I have two amazing sisters who I can talk to. My dad. I can talk to my friend Eva. She was my mom's close friend, and then I like to say I usurped her. And she's really great, and she's just like we're kind of we say we're cut from the same cloth. Like we just kind of get each other. So I feel really lucky, and other good friends. I don't want to miss anybody, but I'm really lucky to have a lot of good friends I can talk to. And I'm at the age where so many friends have kids now, and so they're not like always available. But when they are, they do their best to be present, and that's all you can really ask for. I hope you
And
have good friends you can talk
oh,
to too.
oh yeah, very lucky. Similar situation, tough spot. It's my own issues with psychosis recovery at a young age,
Oh,
and then just
really?
talking to.
Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Somebody called me. I think that's
But
the first time anybody's called me when we did this.
oh
So
my gosh. Like, don't you know
okay,
I'm doing happy music right now?
oops,
So you
yeah.
were talking about I'd love to hear if you're open and willing to share about your experience with psychosis.
I'll just, I'll just kind of leave it at that. As a young person, I was misunderstanding like substances and why I needed to use them, or how to use them, or what was good and not good for me. I had so much ignorance, I think, like most of us, and that led to just states of mind and moments and issues, and or just situations that led to that kind of break at times. And so I was also able to find others that had gone through similar things. Having really a lifestyle change was really huge for me, and hearing
So
about how to do
important.
that. So
It's
yeah,
so
thanks for
good to like
asking.
stop and think about like, is this lifestyle working for me right now and what can I change? It's good to do that. And
So
thanks
what
for sharing.
about your music? Let's just kind of, before we go and we leave each other, let's talk a little bit about more about the music, which I think I look forward to, like so many that are watching, I'm sure, look back and check this out after, and listen again, because it was a lot of good moments for me, and inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank
But
you.
what about like artists and creatives out there in the world that are inspiring you at this point?
I'm just like I'm trying to capture all the melodies and songs coming to me as I just put out an EP in July. So I'm going to be working on something else. I'm debating doing an acoustic EP, which I've never done before. I could play you a little snippet if you want. I'm sitting next to a
Go ahead.
piano. But really, what's inspiring me is just like anything that I wouldn't have thought of myself kind of thing. Like when I hear a line, I'm like, oh, that's clever, or that's a new way of saying something we've heard 100 times, So when anything clever, and anything that like gets me just like feeling really emotional or uplifted. I can't think of anything specific right now. I do recognize
No, that's great.
sometimes I'm not even that big of a music consumer, which I find so weird because like I love to make music. I probably sometimes spend more time writing and making music than I do to listening music, which is like weird, Like sometimes I like silence, like I'll be in silence all day and I'm like, I didn't listen to any music, you know, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I just like silence or I listen to meditation music.
That's helping,
And I really like, you know, listening to Release Radar on Spotify to hear like the new
right?
music that's coming out every week. So I'm
That's pretty
always checking
much,
out new music. Like Release Radar is my go-to playlist. I want to know like what's fresh and who's putting out what. I heard a song, I can't remember, but by Sun Lux that I really liked, and James Blake that came out over the last 2 weeks.
on
I
the
just
new
can't remember
album.
what they were, but I really liked their new songs.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I like having algorithms that can serve me up what I like. I do like that, you know.
Yeah.
Streaming's weird, but that I like. What about like maybe just quickly like expressing yourself through music, like anything else about that that helps you? I feel like we touched on that a few times already, but
Yeah, well,
is there anything
music,
else?
like universally speaking, you know, music is one of the most healing forms of creativity, right? So it's the language of the world, and it gives everybody, at least myself, an opportunity to um, get out the dark matter and turn it into light, or like process an emotion, or just release something I need to get out, or express love, whatever it is. It's really like the conduit of all emotions into an art form, right? So I have a thought, or I have a feeling inside that comes into my head as a thought, then comes out of my mouth into a lyric, and I go, whoa, that's something I want to write about. Then I sit down, I jot some lyrics, some melodies, put a voice memo, then I sit at the piano, figure out what chords work with this. Okay, within an hour and a half or two, I have a song. So it took me a long time to get to that point, but really blessed to be able to do that. And I definitely lean on music as a therapy in addition to weekly therapy. Well,
Hell
now I'm
yeah.
doing bi-weekly therapy and medication and my gratitude writing and intention setting and acts of kindness and meditation, all the tools that I use. Music is definitely one of my favorite tools for release and just like getting to equilibrium. It's like I can have a fear and be like choked up in my throat and then like get it out, and then all of a sudden I can breathe again because it's now that fear is like living through that song and like is out.
Hey, that's beautiful. You can write about that.
Thank you.
uh, um, and last but not least, like a lot of your fans have probably been, you know, and folks that are maybe learning about you today, or you know, maybe having something that they're struggling with, or maybe someone near them, and that they don't necessarily have the audience or the ability to kind of express the same way. Is there anything you'd want to share with them?
Yes. If you haven't found what's working already, don't stop because there is something for everybody. And sometimes it's a combination of things. So really just be open to trying a variety of healing modalities, be holistic in your healthcare. And I have a ton of self-care tips on my website, xariofficial.com. The link is in my bio. So if you are looking for go-to links on, you know, yoga from home, uplifting podcasts, self-help books, vitamins that are good for mental health, sleep hygiene techniques, Reiki, mirror work, affirmations. I have affirmation lists and how to build your own, therapy, support groups, like literally everything I can think of in one place. So just skim through it and like go to it whenever you need. There's ton, and if you're looking to be there for a friend, I really recommend going to bethere.org, which is a really great tool to learn how to support your peers. I recently took the QPR course, which is question, persuade, response, and it's a suicide intervention course. Follow like as many mental health organizations on social media platforms and self-care platforms to stay uplifted and have a healthy feed that inspires you and gives you new ideas all the time. I love looking through my Instagram because at this point I follow so many people who advocate and share about mental health that most of the time
Feels
I
good.
feel uplifted rather than brought down by social media. Although there could be a
Just
wormhole of
pick who you follow.
negativity. Yeah, yeah, be selective, but really just try things. You know, start journaling is a great way to you know, meditating, journaling, writing out gratitudes. Those are three simple things to try. If you need a therapist, get a therapist. If you think that you are struggling with a mental health disorder and you need a diagnosis, talk to your doctor, get recommended to a psychiatrist, get a psychiatrist to give you a diagnosis and medicate you. I would say never go to your general doctor for medication. They're not as equipped as a psychiatrist to really
Right.
help you
Right.
in that way. So get professional help. Don't be scared. Like mental health is health, and we all go through mental health and different, extremes or in different senses. So just like know you're not alone, and that if you had a broken leg, you'd get a cast on it. So if your brain's feeling broken today, there's hope. You can put a cast on it metaphorically and in other ways. So really, I'm all about healing and helping. If anybody ever wants to like send me a message and get support, I'm always happy to listen when I can and provide any extra tools. But really, I've done a lot on my self-care tips. So I'd really say take a look at that if you need anything. If I haven't given you enough fun ideas already.
That's a lot. You listed them off. That's amazing, though. I appreciate you, and
Or get into
your fans are
nature, like,
lucky.
nature. Some people love to dance. Put on a YouTube dance class and just sweat it out. Like, move your body, flex your mind.
Well, you can take a lot of the things you said, put them on t-shirts probably during this call, so you might want to go check those out. Um, I'm gonna. I think we should definitely hear you play a little music, and just I think maybe just a few minutes of that, and then I think I'm gonna have Kristen with Happy Music join us once you hop off, and kind of tell everyone about the app, and just how we help folks. Um,
Awesome.
through
Yeah, I'd
that.
love.
And so,
And it's so great to be connected with you, and I love what you're doing and happy music. I'm going to, let's see if you
thanks so
can
much.
see me from here.
Thanks for sharing.
All right. I hope it's not too late to be playing this. I haven't done a vocal warm up or anything. Let's see if you could see my face. It's a little dark.
Oh, well, it'll be good to, I'm sure we'll hear it and we can see it pretty good.
Okay,
Don't,
sorry, my
don't,
battery's gonna die, so I'm just gonna plug in before I lose you. And then I
okay.
kiss. There we go. All right, you can't see the piano, but you can hear it. So
All
let's see, I
right.
haven't played this in a while,
Stoked.
but this is a song that I'm considering putting out acoustic. So if you love it, please comment, or if you have anything you want to ask me before we get off, please put it in the comments and I'll answer before we go.
Yeah.
Nothing can compare to our last breath of air. Did I lose you?
A little bit, but
Am I here?
I was great. So it was great up to that
Okay, sorry, let me do it
it
again.
sounded amazing.
I don't know what
Okay.
happened. Nothing can compare to our last breath of air. Freedom comes when I surround you. A homemade lullaby to never say goodbye. Healing's done with love around you. We don't need another word now. Everything is in our eyes. The answers are out of this world now. If you meet me on the other side, don't die without me. I wanna go too. Wherever you're going, I'm going with you. Don't die without me. I'll follow you into the light, straight to heavenly too. Don't die without me. Don't die without me. Promise me one thing. Wherever you're going, I'm going with you. That's just a
Oh,
little
hell
bit.
yeah. That was awesome. I
Thank
don't
you.
know. It's been a few days at least, if not a while, since I've heard someone play something live, actually. So, and it
Oh
used to be like
yeah, there you
my
go.
daily life prior to all these things happening. But amazing. That's great.
Thank
Well, I'm
you.
stoked that that's going to be something we can check back out. Maybe we'll take that as a clip. Um, and we're going to add, let's see if Happy, we might be able to get Happy on here Happy the Movement with us. I don't know
Yes, that would be great.
if we can do three. So we'll see if they should raise their hand and maybe we can do that.
Put your
Otherwise,
hands up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, thanks so much. I'm a little, you have to bear with me, guys. I'm trying to see if, okay, so requests, boom. Let's see. Can we get, I'm like, honestly, I've never seen if I could get three people on. Oh, boom. Woo.
Hey, hey.
Kristen.
Hello, hello. It's so good to see you both. What a great, great live. I felt so compelled to just jump in tonight and say hello and to just applaud you for your vulnerability, for being so open. You guys, my name's Kristen. I am one of the co-founders of Happy the Movement. We are where happy music comes from, and these incredible people have been putting so much time into connecting the threads between mental health and music and where the passion for that comes from. We're really excited to be partnering with X.Ari as well in 2022 for her incredible event that she's planning that we're going to collaborate on and make sure that we spread the word about mental health and music. I just wanted to make sure that I shared the thing that popped out the most for me tonight was when you shared how important it is to be careful who you go to and for what. I think that that is such a critical component to what Even Happy is all about. We, at our core, would consider ourselves a supportive culture company. We want people to be surrounded by people that genuinely care about us when we're telling our story. And sometimes we can only be brave to tell parts of our story to some people. And one of the great things about our resource that's connected to Happy Music is the app. It's 24/7. It's on demand. At the tap of a button, you can get connected to someone incredible who is not going to judge you, who's going to listen to your story and give you that opportunity to be seen and heard like we all deserve to be. And it's funny because the thing that got me so excited was that a lot of times people describe that the support givers that we hire to be there to support you guys are literally exactly what you described. They could be like your sister or your aunt or your boss or your confidant. And everyone we go to, we tell different parts of our story to. I can guarantee you that there's someone on the line at Happy who wants to hear your story and is ready to listen to it just as you want to tell it. So we are doing this work to bring this all together, to share our love of music. I mean, I love music more than anything. I think it tells the story of our lives. And I thank you for sharing your gift with us tonight, and for Richard for moderating and your incredible warmth that comes through every week as we do these lives for Happy Music. I love, love, love what you guys are doing, and Happy the Movement is really glad to be part of it. So
I'm
thank
lucky
you.
to meet artists like you. It's been great. And
Yay.
Thank
I
you.
really get to know
Incredible.
you as an artist pretty quickly. Shout out to Alyssa. I see one of our
Yay.
happy
It's actually
support
one of our
givers.
happy support givers. She's
Yeah,
incredible. She's standing by to talk to you guys tonight.
yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet. We
Thanks
did
so
it.
much. It's so great to be connected with you both and to spread love and light and hope and healing and resources with other people. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining. More to come, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.